Hey everybody, that's right, we're back for Conquer the Cave. It's been a little while. We've had a Galactic Championship to cast in the meantime, we've had a new set come out, and so I'm glad to finally be back to have a match between members of our Discord. In case you're unfamiliar, the idea behind this show is to have two members of our Ice Cave Radio Discord go head-to-head. The winner stays to play a new challenger next time, and the person who loses the match can come back later. You never know. But either way, it's a great way to get a look at a lot of different decks, a lot of different players. We've had so many fun, different games on here that I'm glad to finally sit down and commentate another one of these for you. Obviously, Charmer is frozen in Carbonite right now, but that's okay. I'll just solo this one. Sometimes I solo them. Sometimes we have a guest caster, but this one we're just trying to get out there because it's been a while. So without any further ado, let's take a look at our decks and at the players. Oh, let me put hold on. Let me put Charmer and Carbonite here too. There it is. I love that one. I like Charmer, but I also like the Charmer and Carbonite image as well. But here is our reigning champion, Joe D's Gar Saxon Cunning deck. And so this is, similar, I would say, to some of the lists that did really, really well at the Galactic Championship. A lot of Gar Saxons made it through to day 2. A lot were played on day 2. Some of them made it to day 3. I think it's a very solid list right now. I think it did get some decent buffs in set 5. Obviously, things like Shin Hati are really good. Secret of Sage is really good. Xian Flurry, I think, really helps out the deck a lot in terms of giving it just that little bit of extra burst into other units to take advantage of the tokens. So, yeah, I like it a lot. Let's take a look at the challenger, though. Old Ben Wa, otherwise known as Dustin in our Discord, is going to be playing Piett Colossus this time. And, we had in the Los Angeles Set 4 Planetary Qualifier, we did have a Piett Blue get all the way to the top 4. And I don't believe it was a Colossus, if I remember correctly. But Piett Blue is strong, right? And people have played a lot of it. I think can be very, very good with it too. It has just an insane top end. Obviously, we see a ton of ramp here. We see a Colossus Shield Gate too, which is kind of interesting as well to maybe prevent a big hit early on, just sort of preserve that little base health. And that combined with the fact that the Colossus base has 35 health on it is really interesting. I like the aggrieved parliamentarian in the sideboard because you never know when you're going to run into that Kylo Ren these days. I think everybody's just going to be running at least 2 of them in the sideboard for a while now. So that's I think that's appropriate to see because he didn't know what he was going to face, obviously, in this match. But I always get a little bit excited by Piett because I like big ships. I like the Star Destroyers. The space stuff in Star Wars is always my favorite part of the whole franchise. So always happy to see a Piett. But let's jump into the game and see how things do. On our left, we have our reigning champion, Joe D, this time playing the Gar Saxon Cunning. And over on the right side, we have Old Benoit playing Piett Colossus. So we'll see how this goes. Obviously, there's going to be some control elements involved in both sides, right? Where you're going to have the ability to just defeat units with blue. So we'll see how much that comes into play. But where Gar Saxon really excels is being able to take advantage of the fact that anything with an upgrade on it on your side of the board gets +1 attack. And, I've said it so many times. I said on the Galactic Championship last week. I'll say it again now. +1 and -1 in this game is big. It really throws off a lot of math. It throws off a lot of breakpoints. So whenever you can kind of make that happen, I think it is valuable. Love these player mats. I love these play mats, by the way. The Death Star Plans is my new Twin Suns playmat. Looks like Old Benoit just claimed initiative, and so it's going to be a Director Krennic from Joe D. And always a good play early on, just because to make your when defeated cards that much cheaper is pretty huge in a lot of the lists these days that rely on villainy blue. Things like Deceptive Shade. What else do we got? There's a bunch of them right now. In Mother Talzin, you see a lot of it used with like Night Sister Warrior. Karis, things like that. Going to the 3 resource turn now. Old Benoit on the play plays the Dr. Pershing. So again, not something super surprising here. We have the Slow Vigilance player playing Slow Vigilance things, trying to get that card advantage. 3 damage to base from Director Krennic. He is a 2/2, but he does get that +1 from the shield token because of the Gar Saxon leader ability. Ooh, and Shuttle ST-149, I think, is a kind of a juggernaut in this deck, right? Its ability to move upgrades around, maybe give something that lost a shield again on your side, give it back that +1. And the fact that in this deck it comes in as a 4/4 shielded for 4, I think is quite good. Yeah, we have those shields on top there just to make it a little bit easier, I guess, to see. We have the medal initiative token too. Old Benoit was at the Galactic Championship. Didn't get a chance to run into him, but he told me he had a great time with his family and all that. So I was very happy to hear that. That was such a great event. When now that Charmer's back from Gen Con this week on the podcast, we'll be talking about our experiences there as casters. It's a little bit late, but better late than never, right? Dr. Pershing exhausts for the damage for the card draw for Old Benoit. 4 resources available. Another 3 damage comes in from Krennic, though. I mean, it does pile up like shockingly fast with this Gar Saxon deck. It feels a bit more mid-rangey, but it really can be very aggressive just because of how hard the units can hit, right? I mean, 6 damage in 2 swings is a lot in this game, and we see the resupply from Old Benoit. So the thing to keep in mind is that Old Benoit, this Piett Colossus, is running a 35 HP base, right? So he just went down to 29 HP remaining on the base before that shuttle attack, right? Now he's got a total of 10 damage on base, 25 HP remaining, so he's basically at ECL levels now. Ooh, and look at this, Xian Flurry to give the Shin Hati ambush, which I really, really love, because Dr. Pershing had 4 HP left. I guess she does 5 in this case because she's got the Gar Saxon leader ability, but very importantly, she doesn't lose the shield token, so she maintains that ability to do 5 damage. So 3 shielded units already out for Joe D, and I mean, this Piett list, it can hit hard, it can do a lot, but it is on the slower side, and Joe has been putting on, I would say, pretty much maximum pressure here so far in this game with Gar Saxon. We're going up to the 6 resource turn. Well, 6 resources for Old Benoit, 5 for Joe D, of course. So we'll see. So now Joe flips on 6 with Gar Saxon. But if you look at the damage he's got access to right now, it's like, what, 3, 8, 12 damage on the board at the moment? That is wild. Okay, so Merciless Conflict. So he is going to have to defeat one of those units. It's a little bit of a tougher choice. I would still go with the Krennic because it's the lowest hitting, and you're into the point in the game where you don't need the discount, quite as much. So yeah, I think that's going to be the decision. Looks like it is, and I think that's wise. You still have 9 damage on the board between the 4 from the shuttle and the 5 from the Shin Hati, and so again, Old Benoit just getting rocked by damage here. Close the shield gate. Okay, so that does stuff the attack from the Shin Hati at least. The question is, does Joe D have any way to maybe just like ping for a damage or something like that? No, not really. Just going to play that 7th Fleet Defender. That's another 4 attack in the air now because of the Gar Saxon giving a upgraded unit +1 attack. So I think he's doing well there. Yeah, so just establishing the board, saying, you know what, I don't have to do that 5 damage with my Shin Hati unit. I can just go ahead and establish another one and go from there. So meanwhile, back on Old Benoit's side of things, 7 resources available. At some point soon, I feel like you're going to have to flip Piett. You're going to need to play those big ships, right? But what are you going to play, and how are you going to get rid of things because of those shield tokens, right? You have like the Architan's Assault Cruiser that has ambush, but when everything is shielded, things get very tricky. I think you're really going to need, I mean, it's so rough, right? Because even Overwhelming Barrage just removes shields at this point, right? So I don't think we're going to see a lot of Saboteur in this blue-green deck. So I think Old Benoit's in some serious trouble right now. We'll see, though. Looks like a little discussion over what the cards do here. Yeah, just counting up the damage. Because 14, right, 35 health. So, he's got 21 remaining, basically. Okay, there's the Entrenched on the Shin Hati, it looks like. Yeah, just sliding that over towards her side of the table. Yep, and Joe D sliding over on the side, so I'd imagine that's what it's going to be. And Surprise Strike coming in on the shuttle, so that's going to swing for a meaty 7 damage here. The 4 plus the 3. And, yeah, it's going to take him to 21, so only 14 health remaining on base right now. Let's see what Old Ben has in mind here. And, okay. Yep, there's that resupply, just to kind of remind Joe D that was the case. And the attack's coming in again. Wow, 25 on base, only 10 remaining now. And things are looking, I would say, a little bit grim for Old Ben. Lethal is on the board for Joe D, right? So, Deceptive Shade. So that's a newer unit where when it's defeated, the next unit that is played has ambush. It's just kind of a cool little tech, I think, if you're fighting more on the board, right? Gar Saxon comes in, does another 4, up to 29, 6 remaining. This game looks pretty over. I gotta say, I don't, a Super Laser Blast. If he's got a Super Laser Blast, he's got the resources. Maybe, just maybe, you can get back in it. Super Laser Blast would be huge here. But if he doesn't have it, I think this one's over. I don't think there's a lot you can do. The Shin Hati can't attack. Oh, he does have the Super Laser Blast. Okay. All right. So old Benoit still in it. And now, Joe, we'll see what he has to reestablish the board. And so here's where things can get a little bit tricky for the Gar Saxon player, right? Because, I think you go wide here. You just try to play as many units as possible because, again, you have a lot of shields, so you're not as worried about overwhelming barrage. And what blue really excels at is single target removal, right? So, yeah, I think if you're Joe D, you just try to go as wide as you possibly can. Looks like they just went to the regroup phase from what I saw. Okay. So no units being established here by Joe D in that last turn. That said, the same principle applies. The problem is now if you play one unit, they play Avenger, you slow down a little bit. That said, I don't think there's really a lot of healing in this Colossus deck, so there is a mountain to climb for old Benoit to get back in this game. We got another Shin Hati hitting the board. That's another 5 damage, right? That's 1 shy of doing it. And there's the Avengers, is what I was talking about, right? All right. So, and Power the Dark Side takes that Avenger right off the board again. And now, if Joe D can finish with a unit here, that would be pretty big. No, looks like we're going to regroup again. Okay, didn't have the unit in hand. How many cards does he have in hand right now? I'm trying to see. Looks like 3 cards in hand for Joe D at the moment. And so that's that's what I'm kind of talking about, right? Where if Joe D plays something and old Benoit has an answer to remove it right away, this could swing back in the Piett's favor as crazy as the health totals are. Piett flipped right now with 11 resources, 10 resources on the board. Is this an Avenger turn? Secretive Sage? I think that's a smart play for Joe D because any damage is meaningful right now. Yeah, there's the Annihilator. So he's going to remove all the Secretive Sages from the hand, from the deck. If they're in the resources, it doesn't really matter. Gets to look at the hand, too. Okay, there's the Vader and the Lurking TIE Phantom. Nice, nice. Okay, so Joe D will still have the ability to play some of that stuff. Let's find that Secretive Sage. And, old Benoit will be able to, see the deck here, too. Yeah, because, again, like, as the player who plays the Annihilator, you get to look through their deck. So it gives you just a ton of information. There's the one Secretive Sage. Does he have another one in resources? We're getting a long, long look. Zygarian Starhopper is an interesting include in this list, I gotta say. It's a little bit early pressure, I suppose, but it doesn't have an upgrade. It's just a pretty decent, low-costed villainy Cunning ship. And yeah, so it looks like, I would guess there's one. Yeah, there must be one in the resources then. Well, there we go. The Secretive Sage annihilated. And now Joe D doesn't really have an answer, excuse me, for this Annihilator. He can play the Vader and put a shield on it, but I think it may be unlikely that it lives long enough to do the attack. I think you still have to go for it. Yep, that's the case. When this Annihilator is defeated, though, you get to do the ability again, which, again, is kind of scary. But I think you just attack in and win the game, right? That Vader has enough damage on the body right there to get it done. So unless old Benoit has a way to remove the Vader right now, this game is going Joe D's way. We'll see. It was a nice comeback attempt. Honestly, Avenger into the Annihilator, for a second, I was thinking like old Ben might have this, and he still might. 12 damage to base is a lot, but yeah, then you just swing it with the Vader, and that should be enough. That's a 7, right? Or no, it's a 6, yeah, which is exactly enough, because it gets a +1 from the Gar Saxon ability. Yeah. So that should be it. It is a 5/6 unit, gets the +1, and yeah, we are going on to game number 2. Joe D pulls it out in the end, but hey, for a moment, I thought that Piett might have a chance to bring it back. So let's move on to game number 2. All right, here we are in game number 2. Old Benoit has had a chance to go ahead and swap some things out. We'll see if it makes a big difference here. It's scary, right? Because this Gar Saxon can put on the pressure so quickly, In the sideboard, he's got things like top target. I think that is helpful. Timely intervention is fine. The Porgs, I don't think, are going to do him a lot of good. There's a Director Krennic again from Joe D to start things off. That is kind of, I think, the dream start, for this deck, just to establish that quote-unquote 3/2 shielded. 2/2 shielded, but it gets a +1 from the Gar Saxon leader ability, of course. And looks like we're just moving on yet again. So it looks like it was a claim from Old Benoit. And now will we just go right into the resupply? You know, again, this playing Colossus lets you soak a lot of damage early on, right? I mean, Director Krennic swings in, but you're only down to 32 total on base still, right? So you're in good shape. That lurking TIE Phantom is going to be annoying because it is just kind of hard to remove. It doesn't have any upgrades, but it hits for 4 anyway, so it's still hitting harder than it cost, right? It's well statted for the cost if you can keep it out. And yeah, Old Ben going on to the 4 resource turn now, and you know, what I would really love to see from Old Benoit is something like a time lead resupply carrier, right? Or an Arcaten's assault cruiser. That'd be amazing, right? Ooh, all right. That is big because snapshot reflexes means +2, right? Because you get +1 from the upgrade, but you also get another +1 attack from the Gar Saxon leader ability. So that's 6 total damage from that attack here. We do see the shuttle come out as well. That's another 4/4 with the shield because of Gar Saxon. Krennic swings in 2. And so, once again, we find ourselves in a situation where the damage is starting to mount a little bit for Old Benoit. Yeah, I was going to say, I think there maybe should be a little bit more damage on the base. Yeah, because the Krennic swung in for 3, so it should be 9 total because we have the 6 from the snapshot, Lurking TIE Phantom, and we have the 3 from the Krennic. Right, and then the Krennic did attack twice too, so yep. So yeah, that should be where we're at, I believe. I feel like it should maybe be one more actually, because Krennic twice is 6, and Lurking TIE with the snapshot is 6, so it might be 12, but whatever. I mean, they're talking. I might have missed something. And there's a resupply carrier, so that does put the resource into play for Old Benoit. Ooh, and that is unfortunate. There's a Power of the Dark Side just waiting in Jody's hands to remove that, right? And so now Old Ben, in a little bit of a position. I think you're back into the zone where you need that super laser blast. You know, what can you say? Yeah, he's just gonna go and flip. You know, Piett. I think even just attacking into the Krennic and removing the shield is probably worth it. Ooh, breaking in on the Lurking TIE Phantom. That's a hit for 8 now, I believe it is. It should be, yeah, because it should be 6 plus another 2 for the breaking in. So yeah, it should be 1 more, I think. Yeah, the damage getting a little bit funky here. I think maybe the Gar Saxon leader ability is getting forgotten a little bit here. But yeah, either way, the damage piling up quite quickly on Old Benoit. This might be a very, very quick game too. It's looking a little bit rough, I'm not gonna lie. All right, so what's the plan for Old Benoit here? You're 1 short of Super Laser Blast, and the damage is on board to take you out. So, what'll it be? Does he have like a Vanquish or something? Okay, there's a Relentless. I don't think Joe is super concerned about the events being, you know, turned off. Essentially, the first event text is blanked. You know, for Relentless's ability, you're gonna swing for 6 with this because again, it's 2 plus Raid 2 plus 1 for the upgrade plus another 1 for the Gar Saxon leader ability. And he only put 5 damage on base. Am I missing something? I think he's just missing the Gar Saxon leader ability damage a little bit here with this one. Yeah, each friendly upgraded unit gets +1/+0. That's how it works. 34. Either way, plenty of damage here, I think, for Joe D to get the job done as Krennic swings in for lethal, and that is a quick 2-0 for Joe D on the Gar Saxon list. And yeah, I think it's, to be fair to Old Benoit, I think it's a little bit of a deck mismatch where, you know, Piett likes to play very slowly, you know, and the shields especially just makes it so hard for some of the green removal, the overwhelming barrages, things like that, to do the job. But either way, that Gar Saxon list is a force to be reckoned with in Star Wars Unlimited right now, and Joe D piloted it, I think, very well. So thanks to our 2 players for playing the game. Joe D has now won 2 in a row on Conquer the Cave and will return to face another challenger in the near future. On that note, join our Discord. Join in. Sign up. There's a permanent sign-up sheet on the Discord for Conquer the Cave if you want to play as well. And also join our Discord just because there's a lot of cool people in it. There's a lot of fun people to talk to. Everyone's talking about Decklists all the time, and with the Galactic Championship just happening, there's never been a better time. Also, subscribe to our YouTube channel if you could. It helps us out a lot, and leave a like on the video too. Thanks for watching, everybody. We'll see you next time.